hypothetically, we say all those 350 go. Then who votes for the president next time? If all we are looking at is sending our people out in foreign land for them to work. And actually, Eukuru Okot mentioned himself very interestingly in this. He said, okay, you look for jobs outside, Nisawa, but your job is not supposed to travel outside. It's supposed to travel the 47 counties to see the work that your people are doing and be able to polish and restructure and see how best you can take the country to the next level. Not traveling all the time. But the president was like, at next week naenda.
You're saying David Ndindi is the Maguire.
Kuna kiongozi ambaye hana gome yake ya kisiasa, na gome ya kisiasa ya rais wetu ni hapa Mlima Kenya na bonde la Ufa.
Lakini wakileta nyokonyoko simuko tayari.
Kwa mkutano nikiondoka nikapata mtu anaitwa Moses Kuria amenipigia simu, nikipigia yeye ananiambia vice chair. Nashindwa, Moses ni ule
Nimeambia wakora wote na matapeli na wezi pamoja na wafisadi wote, mambo yao ni matatu: either wahame Kenya, waende jela, ama wasafiri waende mbinguni.
Hello and welcome to yet another exciting conversation, political, where we get political, where we get to some extent disrespectful, but also to some extent witty and full of humor. Yeah. And this is Debatable, Agree to Disagree. Alan Hubbard here,
Boniface Miracle.
all right, and it is a beautiful Monday evening as well. We're gonna be looking at all that has been happening in the political sphere, the president defending himself and calling himself the chief commander. Yeah. But also, if you think about it, he's the commander in chief.
He's the commander in chief.
Yeah.
I see
But
what
this,
you did there.
but also he said that he's the chief agent
Yes.
of the country.
Yeah.
But then I wonder, what are the responsibilities and designations of the ambassadors that we have in these different states? If then he is the chief, then don't they need the jobs that they were sent to do in that country? I know we're not supposed to weigh into that.
Yeah.
And even before we say how the week was, or what, all the way from Saturday, Sunday, and some of the happenings that happened throughout the day, first let us wish those who started their KCPE exams and KPSEA exams today. Apparently, or finally, the last batch of students that will sit for KCPE is in this year. And I wanted to pick on you in terms of what do you remember when you were in situations like this so many years ago.
Yes. I remember it was a bit tense the first day that you're doing the paper.
Yeah.
You know, the first paper will mark how you are going to relate with other papers, how you're going to have that feel.
Yeah.
So the first day is usually tense, but once you get done with the first paper, the next two are usually at least they are better. You find the exam is like just other exams that you've been doing. So it's a big day for them. They're never going to forget this day, just like I remember mine. And you're going to tell us about yours as well. But generally, it's a very big day for them, for the students, and we are wishing them a very, very successful exam. May they get what they sowed, you know. May they succeed in whatever way they are going to approach these exams. And we wish it's a new dawn for our country, that we are having a different kind of a system now coming in. It is interesting to go and just discuss about this new system and how the repercussions that is going to have to these children. But all in all, success to all these students, candidates who are taking the exams from today.
You know, President William Ruto today ushered he kicked off the exercise in a primary school in Kikuyu constituency, and there is a meme that surfaced on the internet, him handing a paper to a student, and the meme said the president president was whispering to the to the student ati anza na ile swali ya kulipa ushuru. Yeah, you know, there is never a dull moment in Kenya.
It is never a dull moment.
Quite interesting. You know, I know you summoned me to talk about how my experience was.
Yeah.
Funny thing, first I will make things straight. Mine wasn't in Kenya, mine was in Kampala. So it was more the same intensity. But interestingly, when I woke up, for the very first time, I woke up very early and my mom was surprised. Where is this guy going? Apparently, I had not mentioned that I had national exams. After a very long time, I had ironed my shirt, which I rarely did. You know, I was a little bit confusing, and sometimes, you know, even people who know me from day one, they look at me these days and they're like, no, we never expected you to come out like this. So actually, that is what I will tell the students who are sitting exams and the parents, and no matter what you have, actually parents, because the students can't watch this until probably when they will get the opportunity. But to a parent who might be watching and their child is sitting for exams or their child is still in primary, whatever you see in your child in primary school, it is barely anything that your child will be when they grow up. So only thing that you need to do is give them the opportunity to grow and also give them access to a proper education. Then you let the rest to them to decide for what they will become later on in their lives. Do not, basically what I'm saying, do not dictate to them what they will become.
And you remind me, during my time I was in a boarding school, and on that day you just wear those clothes that you rarely wear to go to that exam, and you are 100% clean, 100%
absolutely,
just waiting for that exam to ace it, you know. So it's it is you've just reminded me of a very special moment in my life that well, has led to where we are today, and I'm proud of the achievement that I've made so far. And of course, as again I've said, fate is decided by these small things that we do. You know, for the parents, they should just make sure that these students don't have any kind of stress within these 3 days, 3 or 4 days. If they like eating chapati,
just give them chapo.
Give them chapo, you know, and make sure that they go to school on time. And just these are the small things that will make a very big impact in their lives, because it matters at the end of the day.
And the funny thing, I almost missed my first paper.
But you woke up early.
No, waking up early and going early, those are two different things. I ironed my shirt. Unfortunately, I could not find it in the morning, so I took a bit of time looking for it. But eventually, when I found it, I did not. I went to a developing sort of school. I would say it was a middle class school because it was a Christian school and all of that. And but it had not gotten national recognition just as yet. So they do not have permission to host national exams. So for some reason, I had forgotten about my school. So instead of going to the center where we are going to do the exams, I went to school. And if I had not found, we had this funny van at school at that time. If I had not found that van on the way, then I would have been late for the first paper. And also the results, just as I surprised people now, the results also surprised them. They never expected me to pass, you know.
Nice. That's
but
was Agnes also?
I thought Agnes was only for the last episode. Agnes was a part of that. But it was a very nice weekend.
let me just finish on something on that topic.
Yes.
It's good that we are remembering these whole days, and something that maybe happened during these moments, one thing that I've been critical about is the presence of police officers with guns
in exam,
classrooms. And these are children, you know. It really is not a good show.
Absolutely.
It is not a good show for the nation and even for the outside world to see that we are being examined with guns. We understand that there can be emergencies, be it violent emergencies, but we really don't need guns in classrooms.
Absolutely.
Or in school compounds with these police officers. They can stay at the gate. You know, if there is anything, they'll be called. But for them going inside classrooms with guns, it's a bit extreme. And this is something that I've consecutively been posting about, that we really don't need this kind of force to show these students that you know, you are being forced to do this, or it's not a good show.
I think it even scares students to some extent.
Absolutely.
You're seeing the gun for the very first time.
For the very first time, and it's for you.
In case you did anything wrong. Interesting there. But also sad news broke yesterday. 5 students who lost their lives in Uasin Gishu after the school account says that they sped off with a boat and they went to sort of celebrate the last day. But the parents say then the school would have taken a little bit more responsibility in taking care of the students. But we say pole kwa wazazi, and we hope that the school or whoever is involved, they will be able to find the reason behind this whole incident. Now let's go to our usual cup of tea, politics. How was your weekend and since Saturday?
My weekend has been quite smooth. Didn't have anything.
Smooth is quite a word.
It is. It has been quite well. I didn't have anything maybe alarming, but one thing I can share is it is important to have gratitude in whatever you're doing. Thank yourself and appreciate the little effort that you've made to be who you are, wherever you are. And in politics, I can quote what Minister Cabinet Secretary Murkomen said, that you know, how you nurture a child is very important. He was talking about Sunday school. About how Sunday school nurtured him to be who he is today. It is at that young stage that you nurture a leader to be who he is, because that kind of positive attitude starts growing in them to their adulthood. So the political talk when Murkomen was speaking, was it during the Anglican Church event? That was my height of the weekend after we spoke here on Saturday. I don't know what yours is.
Interesting. Mine is, I don't think I have any higher highlight except the president coming to his defense and say, you know what, it's like nyinyi hakuna kitu mnaweza do. You know that when given that we started on a light note of school, you see, when you have siblings, I did not grow up with siblings, but when you have siblings and your parent and your sibling goes and reports you to the parent, and then the parent sort of tells them, you know, that sort of feeling that the sibling has. That is sort of what the president made Kenyans go through, where we were making, he said noise, he called it noise. I don't know why he would call it noise, but I don't know if he's borrowing from Ali Bongo. Make noise. He said that mnajua mimi ndio chief agent, commander in chief, so nafaa niende niuze Kenya huko nje. But what I'm interested in to know, even Bonnie, and from an economist point of view, and even your brother or your can I say your profession mate, David Ndindi, also mentioned something about that. I'll be sharing a later on. But the president said that 350,000 jobs await Kenyans in the United Arab Emirates. Hypothetically, we say all those 350 go. Then who votes for the president next time? If all we are looking at is sending our people out in foreign land for them to work. Work is very important, but then what does it make you, or how does it make you look like as a leader instead of, and actually Ukuru Okot mentioned himself very interestingly in this. He said, okay, you look for jobs outside, ni sawa, but your job is not supposed to travel outside. It's supposed to travel the 47 counties to see the work that your people are doing and be able to polish and restructure and see how best you can take the country to the next level. Not traveling all the time. But the president was like, ata next week naenda. Yeah.
The president, he's we have a president that was a salesperson. Yeah, and he used to sell chicken by the roadside, and he's very proud of that. And perhaps it is his character to go out and sell.
Yeah. So
Now,
Boni,
it's-
basically, and this one is going to be a deck one.
Okay.
Basically, ni rahisi kutoa mtu ushago, lakini kutoa ushago ndani yake. So for the president, ni rahisi kumtoa kwa barabara kuuza kuku.
lakini bado anauza kitu.
Lakini lazima bado atafute kitu ya kuuza. Yeah?
Yeah. Perhaps it is in his character to sell and to reach out to people and just try to make Kenya known. I will have two arguments on this.
Yes.
First, it is important, and it is a whole philosophy between people who advocate for the president to go outside the country and people who advocate for the president to stay in the country and work. They are both valid arguments in that, as a president, even you remember during Magufuli's, the late Magufuli's time, people were saying that you need to go out. You need to go to other countries, make bilateral agreements, etc. But there were some people who were saying that, he's doing a lot of work in the country.
Yeah.
So there are two philosophies about Kenya's influence globally and Kenya's internal domestic affairs. The president needs to balance the two. He needs to make sure that people inside the country or projects inside the country run, as well as going outside to have these bilateral agreements, etc. And another thing that is that the president, we have a newcomer president. Perhaps he's enjoying these trips.
So basically you're saying he's still excited.
He's still excited about this new position that he has, going outside and all the pomp that comes with it and meeting new president. But as much as that is also a case, he's getting Kenya to the global stage. As we know, our economy is not an economy based on minerals or natural whatevers. We are an economy that is based on service. And if we need to grow our economy, then we need to reach out. We need to reach out to other countries so that we can provide our services. We have a very robust economy here in Kenya based on people who are learned, people who have gone to school and know different kind of services, but we cannot offer those services in this country. So there is a need for someone to go out there and say that, hey, I have this market here, can you tap into it? So that is one way to look at it. In another way that you can look at it is that, yes, the president needs to stay in the country because there are projects that needs his attention. There are other details in the country that needs his attention as well. So he needs to go, as Ukuru Okot said, he needs to go to these 47 counties, look at the projects that he has done, and try to reassure people that even in these harsh economic times, we are going to have a better Kenya. So you can look at it in different ways. Bottom line is, the president needs to make sure that he is getting something out of it. You are going to different places. Okay, that is good, but what is the ROI? What is the return on investment of the Kenyan taxpayers to pay for your fuel, jet fuel, and etc. To go to a different country and represent the country? So if the ROI is big, if it is a huge number in that case, therefore that is okay, But if we are not getting real returns, and by real returns we mean that we need to see tangible evidences of what you're doing. We need to see these 350 people going to to those
Actually,
countries.
350,000.
350,000 people going to those countries. We need to feel 350,000. You'll feel it, even if you're not the one who's.
This
going
is a
there,
whole stadium.
You will feel it. Yeah. So we need to make sure that even if he's reaching out, we need to. It should not be like in the previous regime where we are told that we are generating 1 million jobs per year. Yet we are not feeling that. You know? So he should be very cautious on the numbers. He should also be very cautious on what he's saying, quoting these big numbers and the impact that is going to have on the people.
One thing, and I don't know if I disagree immediately, but my question has always been where these people are going or where this talent is going, what have they done that we cannot do? You get? That is the question that we're supposed to ask ourselves. If the president, why? Okay, he strongly said that. By the way, hata nitakuwa nimerudi Riyadh the other in 2 weeks time, just to see to it that this deal is sealed. Don't we have ambassadors? Because I would expect if it is a first visit, it's all right. First time president, go visit your counterpart, go with your ambassador, create a relationship, hand over to the ambassador, go back to your country and deal with what people would feel is an immediate interest to them. That would be a proper mechanism where I come in, I initiate. After initiating, I give it to my ambassador. I don't know, there is a visiting president who came in the country and he was supposed to officiate to be the guest of honor at the Mashujaa Day. And he felt humiliated. After feeling humiliated, he was like, no, I'm not going to go through such. He sent his ambassador. And even that showed that he did not even need to be here in the first place.
Yeah.
You get? It's the same thing that our president should look like. Because honestly, what is he going to do there again? What other new discrepancies is he going to discuss in the deal that would need a whole president's attention to be there? You get? And this is where the Kenyans are saying that, Mr. President, you're traveling too much. You're spending a lot of revenue in travel. Or even better still, they can have a conference call on the same on the same and complete the deal. But even as those are mechanisms that can be put in place to sort of cut on this unwanted spending, what are these countries doing that Kenya does not have the capacity of doing? You brought in a good example of Tanzania, and I'm not saying that Tanzanians do not go to the east or to the Middle East for work. But in the news, how many have you heard that a Tanzanian, how oftenly have we heard that a Tanzanian, even on social media, that a Tanzanian national died in the UAE? We often hear guys from Uganda, guys from Kenya, and guys from Nigeria. You get? And when you look at what Magufuli was doing, yes, Magufuli wasn't traveling enough, but all these are, I would call it cosmetic value. You're sort of painting a picture out to the west that your country is doing off well, but back home there is nothing that is going on. And I would dare say that Samia Suluhu is able to travel right now because off of the trenches and the foundation that was laid by Magufuli, because Magufuli put the systems in place. Now only thing that Mama Samia is supposed to be doing is how do we enlarge this, and the only way we can enlarge this is by bringing in foreign investment. Magufuli made sure that there is a port. Now what Samia is doing is saying, okay, we already have a port, how can we bring in investors to manage or to help us widen and bring in more business for the port? But the president of Kenya isn't looking at it I don't think he's looking at it from that perspective. Even these are some of the things that I think you also did some short form content on the channel, and if you haven't checked it out, the card or the link is somewhere in the corner. You talked about how Tanzania overtook Kenya in investment. Why was that a possibility? Because they have the infrastructure is in place, and they have systems in place, and they do not have people who are going to check their bags at the airport when they come in.
Absolutely. Tanzania, as I spoke in that short form video, it's in a very good position to really rise fast in East Africa in terms of its economy. It only needs to diversify. You know, that is what we've been doing ever since Kenya has been diversifying. And just to speak on what the president is also doing, is trying to diversify our economy by channeling different investors to Kenya.
But what I'm saying is he's diversifying a skeleton. Basically, that's what I'm saying. Can you put meat on this skeleton and then diversify it? Because why he even feels the urge of sending Kenyans abroad is because there isn't enough here. So even when the investors come, they will find the labor force has already left. So they will have to bring in other people from outside Kenya to come and work in these industries.
You're right by saying that we need to work more on what we have currently domestically as Kenya, so that we can invite investors. But then again, we also have to admit that Kenya is not at the same place where Saudi Arabia is. Kenya is not at the same place where the United States is. So as much as we need to grow as a country, we also need to diversify and make sure that we offer services to different countries, so that in turn these services can also be generated here. If we have that knowledge, then it will be easier to generate those services here. Even these countries that are really developed, you'll find that they had a period of time where they had different engagements with other countries, with other nationals. For example, the United States. We know that the United States is made with people who, most of them don't come from the United States. They come from other countries. So it is a journey. It is a journey, and those are two philosophies, as I started by saying. Those are two philosophies of how you can grow a nation. One is by looking inside, and the other is by looking outside. Kenya has been looking outside for the largest or the longest time. Then
Mr. President could be the first person to change the trajectory
and look inside
and look from within.
That's a valid point. That's a valid point, because we have for a long time we have always had our presidents seeking outside companies to come inside. And there was a release, I think it is earlier today or just in a few hours ago, that the US is saying that it's going to make sure that Kenya is the hub of Africa in terms of business, because it wants to make sure Kenya is a magnet of multinationals in Africa, to be a model of economic growth in Africa. So these are signs of positives from the president, but as much
No, continue. Continue. You know, as you're talking, this is probably you're not seeing this. The United States is interested in Nairobi because Johannesburg is going out of his hands because of BRICS. So you need an alternate city where you will be felt. So basically, I would say that the United States, even as there will be a ripple effect for them being here, the interests are more United States as compared to Kenya.
We can leverage on that.
Which I'm not disagreeing. And Bonnie, this has always been my argument throughout the shows. Why can't we run the show? You get
as opposed to the United States.
Not even the United States. We're not tagging this against the United States. We are tagging this against other countries. Why can't we be in the position, if they see it for us, why can't we see it for ourselves? Because what are they going to bring? They are only going to they are going to inject capital. How many people are we in the country? Can't we invest in our own industries? And then instead of them coming, bringing in capital, then they say, come in, because say Google comes in here, Google might erect their own building, but can they come in and say, we are going to take up, say, Ishara House, because they have already found this facility there, and say, we are going to buy computers from say Al Concepts, because they have already developed them. We don't need to go to IBM or Microsoft or Apple to bring in computers here.
Yeah.
Because even as they bring in these products, they are going to bring them in with subsidized taxes at the ports.
Yeah.
You get, so there is not much money. Yes, we have the buildings here. We have the big corporates here. For how long has Google been in Nairobi? For how long has PwC, one of the biggest accounting firms in the world, been in Nairobi? For how long have BMW, Mercedes-Benz been in the country? But have we felt their existence? So we need to rethink and say, yes, it is good that we've created this relationship, but how is this trade going to happen? You see all these papers that they sign and say bilateral, this brings 40%, this brings 60%.
Yeah.
All these are on paper for sure. Because even as an investor, when I come in a country and you say, I'm supposed to get 60% from your country, and it's not there. Yeah. If they say I need to get 60% talent from your country, and that talent is not there, and I need my business to continue, I'm going to import it. You get? So basically what I'm talking about is make sure that Kenya has got the capacity. Has got the capacity to accommodate, not even to invite, because we already have the capacity to invite. Many countries, even the UN, even Forbes and Bloomberg and everybody, look at Kenya as the next big thing. But why are we just about the next big thing? Why aren't we now the big thing? For how long are we going to be the next big thing? And the only way we can be the big thing is by making sure that we put systems in place and stopping to sakasua people at airports and removing their personal items from their bags. But before Bonnie, you continue, because I know you want to banter in. Let us hear the president defend himself during a church service where he said and called himself the commander-in-chief.
Kuna watu wengine wananipigia makelele, mbona umeenda safari hii, mbona umeenda safari hii. Hiyo ndio kazi yangu ya rais. Mimi ndio chief agent ya Kenya. Mimi ndio ambassador ya Kenya ya kupanga vile Kenya itasonga mbele. Germany, rais wao walikuwa hapa. Ametuambia ako na nafasi ya vijana 1250. Watu wa Canada mmeketi chini na rais wao, wako na nafasi karibu the same. Marekani almost the same. So tunataka tupanue ajira ingine karibu 1,000,000 kwa vijana. Nimetembea sehemu nyingi. China kwa mfano wamesema sasa watatufungulia soko ya chai na soko ya macadamia na soko ya avocado. Nilikuwa kule juzi. Mimi nataka wakulima wajipange. Pia masoko ya Korea, soko ya nchi 27.
And this makes ini kama ni kukuokota tu sasa. This makes me question. All these have existed for the longest time. Why aren't we seeing productions from them? You get? That is where my agitation is at.
I will repeat what I said. You have a very valid argument, Alan.
But
and I agree with what you're saying. The only but is that it is a long term. What you're saying is a long term strategy, and that is eventually where Kenya should be. That we should attract investment on our own, with the capacity to have these big investments should just come here and get the Kenyan service, and also have our own Kenyan branded service to the world. I think that is the ultimate position where we're supposed to go as a country.
But even we're not doing the short-term things that are supposed to get us there. I'll give you a perfect example. Rwanda, only 1994. I think it's only 30 years old. After the genocide, there was a musical concert in Rwanda, and I think it was the Trace Awards something, and these awards were even had the extent that the president supported this initiative, because the president understands what it means for his economy. In Kenya, have we put systems in place that we had the president when he was on his trip in the United States. He had conversations with Grammy Award or Hollywood executives. But how it failed. We have not seen anything that is moving in that direction. So this is, I think, why even the people are asking themselves, when is the president going to stop pronouncing himself and start actualizing? Because I think the president has made so many pronouncements that you even wonder. I think we need, as debatable, we'll also still start having a tracker of the this week. This is what the president promised. You get, and this is what is alarming me the most. Yeah, I agree. All these things that I'm talking about, they are long term.
Yeah,
but they have always been long term, and Tanzania knew they were long term. They started, and now they're seeing the benefits. I would agree. As a popular opinion, the former government messed us up, but the current government has been in power for a whole year. What systems, tangible systems, have they put in place to make sure that we do not repeat the same mistakes that the previous government made?
Well, that is true. And, the future is Africa. There's a narrative here that the future is Africa, and Africa has the potential because we have the available labor to give services across the world in terms of these organizations that are there, because our generation is mostly youth. So that is one narrative that the president can also be looking into and trying to fill up this gap with Kenyans. But it is true that we need to do more as a country in our capacity to make sure that we have the capability to deliver, as you're saying. So in one or another we agree, and in some bits
we are disagreeing.
We disagree.
I have a wild take, and this just flashed in my mind. And I think Africa is being told that it is the next big thing, not because necessarily it is the next big thing, but because they want Africa to sleep to some extent. Bonnie, stay with me here. How many times have you done your best when you know you are the best, or when you know something is going to happen?
You do so little.
So that means that this narrative is making Africans lazy. And this is why the Middle East knew that if we stay the same, we are just going to remain a desert and nothing is going to come out of us. Yeah? And the crown prince and the king and whoever, they decided then, they put their foot on the ground and said, we have to change this situation. And nobody's going to tell us nothing. But we're just going to do what we need to do to make sure that we take our country or our bloc to the next level. Same thing happened for Singapore. Yeah, they had to put the prime minister that they had. He had to put the foot on the ground and say, "Okay, yes, Singapore. Those are the promises. That is how the trajectory looks like. That is how the projections look like. Oh, we have the youngest population. Oh, we have the best education. Oh, we have this." But then it does not translate to anything, because we are adamant. We are the future. Kwani, what can happen? Yeah. So in turn, you're having a continent that is relaxed, just because it knows it's the future.
It's the future.
But who's going to bring you this future?
You have to work yourself.
Yeah. Look at Ghana. Ghana, they are going into the situation that South Africa is going into. Ghana have started experiencing electricity cuts for the longest times. Things that they have not been experiencing in such a long time. Yeah.
It's partly true what you're saying, and it's a world tech that has also just hit my head, that you can be told that we are the future, but at the same time, no one is going to hand
a silver platter.
Yeah, just like that, because you have a young population. Africa needs to rise, and I think we've been saying that for the longest time here, that the fate of Africa belongs to Africans, and it doesn't belong to anyone else to chart our future. What they're saying is just simply doing what they've been doing for the longest time as well, that they want to chart our future. They want to say that this is the direction that Africa should take. They were here as colonizers. They used us as labor, and now in the future they just are politely telling us that now you can also offer us labor, but now it's you're the future. It's willing. So you can look at it in that perspective, but also you can also have the view that it is true that Africa also has young people, and we are seeing migration to Europe. We are seeing migration to the United States that insinuates that there is need for labor in these countries, and Africans are providing it. But you also have to consider that this labor is not inelastic. It's not elastic. That is not going to end. So we have to also look in that perspective that as African, we need homegrown solutions to our problems. We need homegrown solutions to sort our issues, so that we can reach at a position whereby we can say Africa has grown to a different level, but not waiting on other people to just document our future, our fate as Africans. So I agree with that partly. Yeah.
And it's interesting that you say that we provide our talent basically, or we go work abroad. But something clicked in my mind. Yes, we go offer our services out there, but the companies that we offer these services to, what are the owners doing?
Like which one?
The owners in the West, what are they doing? The owners of these companies that are hiring Africans, what are they doing?
Tell us.
They are enjoying their money. They are enjoying their dividends as you work for them. As they are in the Maldives, as they are in Seychelles, as they are enjoying white sands in Cape Town, you are outside there working crazy hours. They call them graveyard hours. And you say that, oh, I got a beautiful job. I'm in the United States, I'm in the UK. And that is what our president is telling us. Oh, we have jobs in Germany. Oh, we have jobs here. Mr. President, me, I'm telling you this, create the jobs back home. Yeah. And before we get angry, let us go on to the next, let us go on to the next topic. Or if he's not able to create the jobs, or if the government is not able to create the jobs, now let them put allowing systems or mechanisms in place to make sure that people can then generate their own. Okay, let's prolong this a little bit further.
All right.
We saw the KRA failed to raise the taxes that they had expected. You know, when you are overtaxed, you are not incentivized to work. So automatically you'll do what? You will not work. And if you don't work, what does not happen? Taxes are not collected. So in the long run, you have widened the tax bracket, but the people who are able to, or the tax basket, but the people who can fall in that basket, they are saying, no, I'm not going to work to give to the government.
It's true. In economics, we say tax avoidance, in that you will do all you can to avoid being charged extra. That is why people are avoiding to use their vehicles, because the price of fuel is high.
Even those who used to use till numbers to pay. Nitore pesa yangu pale. You get? Yeah?
Yes,
because they were told till numbers, they will also be checked. But if you withdraw, probably a transaction won't be able to be followed. And there's a sentiment that David Ndindi put out on the social media, and I think it's high time the president fires David Ndindi. He said he wishes that the government had lost the election, so that Azimio could have went ahead and dealt with this mess that okay, not entirely Azimio, but what the former government did to sort of deal with the mess that they created. Who wishes death, or who wishes loss on a team that he's a part of?
You're saying David Ndindi is the Maguire.
Now, fun fact, we are all Manchester United fans, so we don't mean any harm to any Manchester United fan out there. Yes.
As I said also before, when David Ndindi speaks, people who support the government to just hold your heart a bit.
Yeah.
He likes to communicate in a truthful way, in a truthful but hurting way.
Yeah.
I don't think he's...
he does not excite you when he communicates like that.
He does not excite anyone.
Leave alone you.
But I try to understand him.
Yeah.
I try to understand him in that he's trying to communicate in a sophisticated way, in a learned man's language, that, I wish they won so that they can feel what we're feeling, so that they can understand the depth of things that they cost this country.
Yeah.
That is the kind of trajectory that he's trying to allude. We've seen David Ndindi in different spaces with the president, even in the recent travels. He's been with the president. So it perhaps they have a very good cordial relationship with the president, and the president, of course, knows what David Ndindi says. It is just, I don't know how he understands David Ndindi. Perhaps they have a mutual understanding between, as a gentleman's understanding. But, well, the public is reading differently. You don't expect you to just put out your sentence as plain as it is, and just expect the whole nation to decode your message. It is impossible. You're speaking to the public, just speak in a very simple manner that will just tell us what is going on. You have a very senior position in government as the economic advisor of the president. We really depend on you in these periods where the economy is really the thing that is in our mouth every now and then. That this is high, this is whatever is spiking. So he needs to communicate in a very, very respectful and give hope, I'm not saying that he should give false hope, but tell us what you're doing so that we can avert this crisis that we're having right now. So he's trying just to tell the people that, we are having a unique situation here. If you were here, you could have felt what you're feeling, but he needs also to extend that comment and say, but you are doing the right thing, we're doing this and this to avoid what you're feeling. Right?
And if I've noticed, I've constantly referenced watu kusakasua ama mifuko za watu kuangaliwa pale airport. This comments from the airport, not the airport, the tourism CS, Alfred Mutua. Let's hear what he was saying, then we were into that. As also, we have been vindicated yet again as somebody that we've been calling out and making some noise for. They finally surfaced after a very long time. Yeah? Watch this.
Mheshimiwa ndugu yangu Ndindi Nyoro, wewe ni kijana.
When our tourists come, amebeba kamera mbili, amebeba viatu, anataka kuja shopping, anataka kuja kwa nyingine, akifika pale KRA anaambiwa afungue mfungo yake, ando yake inashikwa na kalamu inachoa kando hivi namna hii, wanatafuta sijui kamera mbili iko hapo, sijui kiatu mbili, perfume umeletea nani hapa. We harass our visitors when they come to this country at the airport. And then we wonder why they don't come back. You go to Rwanda, they don't harass you. Kwani Rwanda doesn't collect taxes. You go to South Africa, they don't harass you. Kwani South Africa doesn't collect taxes. You go to Dubai, they don't harass you. Why are they harassing our visitors here? Mama anatoa chupi yake inawekwa kando na watu wa KRA hapo kando adharani. They'll never come back to Kenya. And we wonder, why did we come to number 4? Why are people not coming to Kenya? So you have to present the right optics. People have to get that warm feeling. You go to Singapore today, nobody harasses you. You go to the Seychelles, you go to the Maldives, nobody opens your bag. You're a tourist. You know what I mean? So those are some of the things that we need to correct, and now you have the right leader to correct it for you. Yes. And we'll ask them, whether you tell us we close down the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife and focus on other things, come on, but if you want us to collect money and we get this country to be rich, then stop harassing our products. So that our product can come here and do. Na watu wa KRA si wabaya sana. Ni wazuri. Lakini wana tabia mbaya.
I believe the good minister was meaning Maldives.
Yes.
Okay, it escaped me for a minute there. But when he says mkuna tabia mbaya and he's in the government, then who exactly is misbehaving at the airports? Because I totally agree with him to not even to some extent, entirely, that how you are handled at an airport of a country that you're visiting for the very first time, it depicts if you're going to come back or you're never going to come back.
Absolutely. First impressions matter. And if someone is coming from a different country and your first impression is to ransack their belongings and just frustrate them at the airport, they're definitely going to have a bad feeling about this country. They're going to have bad reviews about the country. Even their stay is going to be affected. Also, if that is the last thing they're going to experience before going to their places, their entire journey, their entire adventure is going to change. The perception is going to change into something different. So the good cabinet secretary is saying the right thing, that we are having officials who are harassing members or tourists who are coming to this country. And it is unfortunate because tourism is a very big industry in Kenya. The lifeline of Kenya, apart from agriculture, is tourism. Yeah, so that doesn't need or has to be perfect, 100% perfect. So we don't need people who are going to chase away the lifeline of the country. We need people who are going to appreciate people as they come to this country, and we have to also to accept the fact that tourists they're coming from different parts of the world. They have different cultures. So if someone has a different culture at home and you're going to just do anything that you want just because you have a position, it's really sad. It's really sad, and something has to be changed on that.
Interesting there. And actually this takes me back to the president, William Ruto, who also mentioned that Kenya is slowly moving to a place where no African will be required to have a visa to come into the country. And this is where, remember last Saturday we said that we'll be looking out for comments from some of our viewers, and when we have the opportunity we'll be able to sort of shout out to them. There is a gentleman that said something very important here on when we're doing the show about Malema, but it's very pertinent because it falls on the tourism aspect and also what the president was saying. And he goes by the name Belin Yara. He goes ahead and he says, in Africa, miss this opportunity of BRICS. If Africa misses this opportunity of BRICS, then we will suffer until death takes place. There's no freedom in Africa because it's difficult to move from my country to other countries of Africa, and 75% business in Africa are owned by US, so as Africans we own nothing. And exactly, okay, I did not premeditate this statement or this comment, but he's also speaking to what I was saying initially. Even as this foreign investment is coming, still these subsidiaries, they are owned by the companies or the countries that bring them in the country. And also this limitation of Africans to travel amongst their own countries, I think it's also a challenge, and it also contributes to what CS Alfred Mutua is saying, because if then it's visa free, you could just come and check in your passport to show that I am moving from this point, I'm going into this point, because also you need to make sure that security is intact. But we should limit the way that or we should look at the way that we handle people that come in and out of our country.
Africa trades with the world more than it trades within themselves. The intra-African trade is really weak, and that is what African countries should now try to do. As we said even just before this, that we need to embrace ourselves and our homegrown solutions to what we are feeling as Africans. If we have a hunger issue in Kenya, that is something that Kenyans and other African countries should come together and address in different countries. So there is a need, and it is important for Africans or African countries to eliminate these barriers within ourselves. And we always say that, Africans to some extent, we hate ourselves. I mean, why shouldn't we trade with Congo, with Chad, with other countries more than we are trading with the United States? It makes no sense. So we need to, first of all, trade within ourselves, acknowledge other countries as important bits that can make our economies greater. Then we'll have the position now to speak in one voice as Africans, that we can, we can do this and deliver in the best way possible. The radical African countries are already doing that. Remember the countries that underwent coup, they say that they will want to trade within themselves, and that is the direction. We're not saying that we should lock ourselves out, but I know you have that idea.
That idea.
But I'm saying that we should increase trade within ourselves. We should sell to other. If we have the capacity to sell something that Uganda can buy, and Uganda is buying from outside Africa, we can do that and make our trades and our industries better off than how they are.
And and to show you that I'm committed to my sentiment, I will quote a famous philosopher. If it isn't Sir Isaac Newton, then it is this guy, this physician. I'll remember his name. He said, necessity breeds. Necessity is the mother of all creativity.
Invention,
You get, or every invention, or whatever words you would want to use. But also, I would give an example, and this has been my school of thought, and I do not mean to repel anybody. I believe South Africa was able to grow to the level that it grew because for a dark time, it was blocked and ridden off of the world. So they found themselves in a dire need or in a dire situations, and the only thing that they had to do is to develop their country. And I think Africa needs to be, the whole of Africa needs to be at that point where we feel nobody is coming to save us.
Yes.
You get? It is a bad way to look at things, or it is a radical, not even bad, it is a radical way to look at things. But until we feel nobody, it's like in self-development or personal development. The moment you learn that nobody is coming to your rescue, you will wake up and go do whatever you have to do to make sure that either you make ends meet or you develop yourself as a human being.
That is true. On that one, I agree with you. In that we need to look at we need to look inwards and look at ourselves as the last option. We don't need to depend on other countries, so that we even have our long-term plans that are in line with other countries, that if this country does not fall in line with what we've planned, then our entire project falls apart. It should not be like that. We should have solid plans as Africa. And what affects Africa most is the influence. At the end of the day, whether you're looking west or you're looking east, if you have influence from whatever country, then you're not independent. We're not saying that people who are looking west are more sinners than people who are looking east. You're still in the same playground, If China is the one that is calling the shots in your country, then you don't have a say whether you're facing poverty as your main problem, and China comes and say, we want to build a port. You're using your funds to do the wrong thing while your people are suffering. So at the end of the day, we need that independence. We need Africa to just remain Africa and have its own mechanisms to solve its own problems. Until that day is achieved, or until that day comes, then we are still going to have these kind of problems that we have between different countries, that Kenya doesn't want to trade with this other country because it is looking east. That even it doesn't even concern us. It should not concern us. As long as they're our neighbors, we should trade with them. As long as they're Africans, they are closer to us, they have a need, we have something to provide, or we have a need and they have something to provide, we should engage them and trade together so that we can increase our economies together.
Absolutely. And I don't think we have any further thing that we need to belabor on that particular topic. But I would like us to sort of congratulate ourselves, and if the director had some drum rolls, this is the time to play those drum rolls. Ndindi Nyoro,
Yes.
after a very long time. The man probably, he was sort of basking in his glory and meditating and saying, this is now, hear me ye, I come back to you with wisdom. He came back with a lot of force, defending the president's agenda and saying that the president has performed exemplarily in terms of delivering on his promises. Before you tell me what you have to make of Ndindi's sentiments, let's hear what the MP of where is he from?
Muranga.
Not in Muranga, he is from
Kiharu.
Kiharu, yes.
Kiharu.
What they have been able to achieve here. Get to listen to this.
Mheshimiwa ndugu yangu Ndindi Nyoro, wewe ni kijana, lakini tukiangalia wewe kama wabunge wenzako, tunaona mbele iko sawa. Sasa unajua Mheshimiwa Ruto alianza kama wewe. Sasa wewe, you have the best tutor in His Excellency President William Ruto. Kanyanga hiyo nyayo yake.
Asking you these questions sometimes, knowing what you're going to say. Yeah, it's just like Adam and Eve being tempted by the snake. Yeah, but what do you make of the sentiments of Ndindi Nyoro?
Ndindi Nyoro had to come out and defend the president, because this is a government that he really fought for. You realize that Ndindi was among the top lieutenants of the president that went to the president across the country. He even didn't take a lot of time to campaign in his backyard, but he won.
He knew he would still win either way.
So he's a person that really had to come out and make his statement concerning what also the country is facing in terms of taxes. He's an economist as well. He understands what the people are facing, and his perspective can be taken in terms of his studies, and also, but I know much of it is going to be taken in terms of political. His leaning position politically. Sorry. So I think Ndindi, his time was now. He really had to come out, as we said. His silence was a bit loud. He really had to come out and defend the president when people are talking, because he was there, and he promised. He was part of the people who are promising us heaven. And we need that heaven delivered to us right now.
You see, sometimes I rarely understand, and how I don't understand is how during the campaign season the politician can be so connected to the person, and when it comes to implementing, the politician can be so far away from the person who voted for them. Because hearing Ndindi Nyoro speaks flamboyantly, when it comes to explaining economics related issues. I don't think, okay, there are people who would beat him, but the man is good at what he does, because he did not get to being the top shareholder in Kenya Power just by luck. The man must have worked for it. So I will give credit where it's due. But what I do not understand is the utter disregard of saying that yes, there is a challenge, and probably the policies that we're putting in. I know the government will never accept liability, but at least have the decency to say that yes, we have failed, but this is what we're doing to rectify our challenges. And I will quote Ole Sapit. There is a time that he was speaking and he said, you're already the president. We're not going to beat you. Come and tell us what you promised is not possible, but these are the things that we can deliver on, and the country will move on. You get? And this is what I would also expect of somebody like Ndindi Nyoro. The only thing he said that yes, we have a debt problem, and it does not mean that we are not borrowing. We are borrowing, but because of this and this and this. To some extent, yes, you see that he is trying to be open, but then still he seems yet so far away from the common mwananchi, because when he says that the policies that have been put in place by the president have helped the country, and it has when have we ever traded the dollar at 150 Kenyan shillings? Honestly, Yeah, even when we are in the hardest times of the previous government, the dollar wasn't that expensive. You get, and the most interesting, it's not funny at all, but the most interesting thing is when you compare to how the dollar is trading in Tanzania and Uganda and other parts of Africa, you'd find that Kenya is the most hit.
Yeah.
So what is the Kenyan government not doing to make sure that it regulates the price of the dollar? Because we import in dollars. So if we import in dollars, then that means that cost of living is going to go high. Boni, when I give, sometimes I have the opportunity to give, and when I give, I do not want. When I give from the right, the left hand must not know. But Boni, it is disheartening when a man comes to you fully suited up and he tells you, man, tangu asubuhi nimetafuta kitu ya kufanya, sijapata, naenda home, wife ameningoja na sijui nitampelekea nini na niko na mtoi. And it is very disheartening to give such a man 100 Kenyan shillings just to tell him, go find what you are able to find in the house. And these are stories that we are not acknowledging. You get, so there is sort of this layer. Unaona maziwa ikiwa inapoa, kuna kale Kenya na creatigi. It's sort of, the government has created a layer between them and the common mwananchi. They're not really getting to understand what the common mwananchi is going through. And also this is evident when I heard the president speak that wakulima kama mtaki kununua mahindi na 4,000 basi mwende mtafute alternative nyingine. I'm like, how would the president speak with? And I think that's why even Moses Kuria was not fired, because if the president could speak like that, yeah, and this is his backyard. If the president isn't tribal, at least we have seen he has tried to visit every part of the country at the opportunity. But this is something that he was also saying in his backyard. Kama mwezi nunua kuuza na 4,000, hatuna vile tutawasaidia.
It is wrong. It is wrong by all means to speak to Kenyans who elected you,
in
the
that
people
manner,
who've really fought for you to be in power in that manner. That one is wrong. And if in case that is what is happening, they need to change, because the employer are those people who are citizens of this country. So they need to speak to them in a respectable manner, and to appreciate whatever little efforts they are doing in making good policies for the country. So on that one, I think it's plain simple. The president needs to appreciate the voters, the citizens, and then also the kind of rhetoric, the kind of statements they give out, be it the CS Kuria, be it the president or whoever it is. As long as you're elected to serve the public, you're supposed to speak to people in the right way. So that being said, done, the president, in what he says and what is being done right now, we understand that during elections, during campaigns, they a bit promised people too much or overpromised in what they wanted to do, and right now I think they're facing the reality of what the economy is and what the situation is with the country and externally. So those are two different things. When you promise, and I usually say it is very simple to oppose, but when you're given the mandate, that is when the real work starts. If you've ever been in a political competition, you understand.
Have you?
Yes, you understand that it is very, very enjoyable and very, very fun to oppose, because you'll just be in a position. I remember myself, I was vying for a particular seat, and I was just in some place with people, and you'll just say no to everything that comes, and people will just love you
for the mere sake of saying no.
For the mere sake of saying no, the people just love you and say, we need you as a leader. But when the elections were done and I was given the mandate, it now dawns on you that the things you are saying no, now you have to rectify. And that is the position I think that the president found himself in. That the situation that was in the country was not something that you can change, you can ward off with a magic with a magic wand
Yeah.
and just say that now the economy will progress. It is not, it cannot be done like that. So they've tried as much as possible to try to give reasons why things
it's
are
not working.
Things are not working the way they promised. They say that the coffers were dry. They say that the war in Ukraine, now they're saying the war in Gaza. And we have a lot of reasons we are being given that this is not going the right way. I think the best thing that they could do is to tell us the real situation on what is happening right now, because the more you keep promising us, the more you're keeping people to be anxious and waiting for good results that are not coming, and you're making them now in the process, you're making them to be frustrated, and it's a bad thing. So that being said, the president is trying to deliver to the people. He's trying to deliver with the policies that he is saying. We saw the UHC. The 4 bills that were passed that will make sure that Kenyans enjoy good health care. We saw the fertilizer being reduced, and people now have very good harvest. What now needs to be done is maybe the price of maize to be at least better, so that farmers can enjoy, and basically mwananchi should enjoy all these policies that are being passed by the government.
And as well, as we even come into the end of the conversation, the deputy president is in Germany. He's talking about mambo ya wakulima wa chai and mambo ya kahawa na macadamia. Here is the deputy president speaking in a conference in Germany.
And we wanted to be in every coffee house, in every shop, in every supermarket, in every retail shop, so that one, we increase our foreign currency earnings. Number two, we dignify our farmers back at home.
That is the deputy president, and we saw him miss out in the political scene again over the weekend. I think the man is being kept busy with the travels as well. I don't know why this government finds it fancy to travel, but the travels are not yielding anything. And I wonder if the president then, his travels are not yielding anything, how far can the deputies go?
I don't know the title that the deputy president is taking on these things that he's doing.
Yeah.
Should we call him the cabinet secretary of Central Province or something? Because why is he advocating for only one thing?
Yeah.
We are failing to understand that
shareholder.
He's
okay.
he's all over just advocating for coffee. What is the Minister for Agriculture doing? You know, at the same time, what is the Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture for Foreign Affairs doing that we are not getting? Because it's as if he has taken it upon himself to only focus on Mount Kenya, which should not be the case. We need a deputy president that works for everyone. We need a deputy. If you're going to support people from Mount Kenya alone, then who's going to support people from Western? With what you're saying that, or Western or North Rift, that maize is only 4,000 shillings, you know. So we need to see our deputy president really working for the entire nation. And that is a matter of concern because it should not work like this. You should not only focus on a certain category of people, yet you are elected by all Kenyans to work for them. So that is really a matter of concern that also I am raising personally to the deputy president to please work for all Kenyans. We understand that you need your backyard to support you, but at the same time, a lot of Kenyans have different problems. From Mombasa to Turkana, from Mandera to Voi, we have different problems. We have crops that are not selling to the market. Kindly also look at these people and solve their problems.
And I like the question that you asked, where is the Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture? Seems like the Deputy President has demoted himself to a Cabinet Secretary of Agriculture, but for a particular region. Also, a quick text, one Sakaja here being refused by what you would call cartels in government not to quote unquote, they call it harassing business people in the CBD. Will Sakaja have the opportunity to deliver on his mantra, lazima iwak thing?
If lazima iwak has to work, then Sakaja has to do whatever he wants to do. And it doesn't matter who will be in office in Nairobi. You have to sort this issue of traders being along street.
And I think he was also watching, because we talked about the issue of hawkers, and a few days later he was like, no any hawkers in Nairobi, but who are they?
Who are they? It's also it's concerning that some few members of parliament will come out and say that do not touch these people. Then what else are you offering? You don't just come out and say do not touch these people if you're not offering something. As a leader, come up with a solution and say that, okay, governor, you want to do this, we can try and do this, because we understand it's a problem. It is a problem that we are having people selling everything on the streets of Nairobi, and they are going to everywhere. So I'm not saying that they don't have their right to earn a living. They do, but we need to do things orderly. If the governor wants to remove them from Nairobi, does he have somewhere else to take them? They can allocate them some land just near the town where they can do their businesses, and everyone will be benefiting. If you're having your business along the streets, then you have also shopkeepers who you are blocking from gaining their source of earnings.
And they're paying hefty amounts in rent to stay in those buildings.
They're paying hefty amounts. So we have to look at both positions if you're going to defend people. Then it's not just right. I think we need to move away from personalizing agendas. If the governor is coming out and saying that let's remove these people, it doesn't mean that all these people belong to one tribe. They are all people from different tribes who are doing these businesses along the streets. So it doesn't make sense for one person from one tribe to just come out and say that
do not chase away
these people. It is not right. By all means, it is not right. If you want to develop as a country, let us remove the ideas of ethnicity in us, so that we can address national issues and treat them as national issues, and we'll grow as a country. This is something that we have tried for a very long time to resist. Do not come out and just say that you are touching our tribe just because this policy wants to move. The people who are selling in these shops that are being blocked are also from your tribe, some of them, so it is not right for these members of parliament to come out and say that do not do this. Then what else are you offering? That will be my question.
Interesting. Any quick take that you have?
Well, we are looking at the coming of the king next week. I think next week on Tuesday. So that is a matter that maybe we'll discuss across the week, and how things are going to unfold.
Interesting visit there. I think the king is trying to consolidate the Commonwealth and sort of return its sort of dwindling influence on the member states of the Commonwealth. All right. Do you have any shout out that you would need to make, any comment? Because I believe we've had a debatable one indeed.
Today has been debatable. I'll just shout out to every viewer who watches us religiously. There are those people who keep watching us every day. We release a debatable session. So shout out to you, and continue listening to us and watching us. Give us your feedback. We'd like to also do things the best way that you see, and also to give you more information across the week of what is happening.
And this week we shouted out to Belin Yara, and next time probably it might be you. So kindly give us a like, drop your comment in the comment section, and we'll also, if it definitely it will be interesting, we'll pick it and we'll talk about it here on the show. And remember to share, and if you haven't subscribed just as yet, go ahead and hit that